Good afternoon. It's May and we're back here in the Front Yard Gardens to do another garden tour. My name is Namjyoti with Blue Cypress School of Holism and Blue Cypress Botanicals, and we've had a lot of rain recently, and so everything in the garden is really perking up. I've pulled out quite a few things and planted some new things, and some of the squashes and cucumbers are starting to get big and flower. So let's go take a look around and see what's changed. All right, here are some of the beautiful sunflowers, and I'll know better which ones are which once they really start to open up and show their faces. But you can see, man, the sacred geometry that's contained within a sunflower is really just blowing my mind. You know, all plants and flowers, but it's just like in your face with these sunflowers here lately. That one's getting ready to open all the way up. And I still have so many more sunflowers that I want to plant, so I've been just kind of planting them in rounds. More sunflowers. And remember in the last video, I was like, I don't know why these sunflowers aren't starting to stand up. It's because they're borage. They're not sunflowers. So that makes a lot of sense. So this borage is starting to flower. We had a bunch of caterpillars and inchworms that were raining down from the sky for probably like 2 or 3 weeks, and they really loved the borage. So a lot of the borage has taken a hit, but it's starting to recover now. You can see this one is standing up tall, getting ready to flower. And the borage flowers are really exceptionally beautiful as well and edible. So you can just take a flower and eat it. It's kind of scratchy on the tongue, but it's not dangerous in any way. More sunflowers. These are like teenage sunflowers, whereas those there are more mature. All of these are tomatoes. I noticed in my last video that I was moving around really quickly, and that was making me nauseous when I tried to watch it. So I don't know if that happened with any of you, but I apologize. I'm still trying to dial in my videography skills that I don't really have. So moving slower, I think, is gonna help. So here's another little sunflower. I love all the different stages of the sunflowers. And these tomato plants that are beside the sunflowers, they haven't started to fruit just yet. They do have some flowers on them. So these sunflowers here are a little bit shorter than these guys up here. This one here is like, I've been calling it the Mac Daddy, but maybe it's more like the grandmother or the mother of all sunflowers. I don't know what we should call this one, but it just blows my mind. It's so beautiful. And if you look down, you can see all of the different stacks of flower heads that are coming. It's hard to focus in, but you get it. And I think this one might be a Hopi black sunflower, but we'll see when she opens her face. It's another little sunflower. Oh, there's a little beetle bug under there creeping. You see him? We'll leave him alone. This sunflower looks really sturdy because it kind of grew up and through the vertical garden. And so I'm thinking about planting more sunflowers along a support system probably next year, because it just seems like a really good idea because they get so thick. You can see through there how thick their stalks are. So down here, kind of in the shade of the sunflowers, these are straw flowers, which are standing up really tall and pretty right now, and I'm excited to see what they look like because, again, I've never grown straw flowers until this year. Some little passion vines, that's some sort of squash, and then all these little seedlings have just kind of popped up. There's another passion vine. There's some sort of melon or squash. Right before we got all of that rain, I mean, it's been thunderstorming and lightning, a lot of heavy, hard rain. And in between that, when we kind of had a quiet time, I came out and planted a bunch of seeds. And so now all of those seeds are germinating because they've had a few days of rain. Here's more borage that's in the process of flowering. I've been harvesting this and making, yesterday I made a sun tea with spearmint. I have all this spearmint that I'm trying to figure out, you know, what's the best way to use it, because I don't have very good luck trying to dry and preserve the spearmint. So I've just been making fresh tea with it. So sun tea, I made a borage and spearmint sun tea yesterday with a little bit of honey. That was really delicious. And then I've also been making just like infusions as well. This tomato plant had, let's see, it has a little fruit under there. Let me see if I can move these leaves. There you go. You can see there's a little fruit coming on this tomato. And I had to come out here and put a late cage on this one because I was trying to support it with bamboo, and that just didn't work out. See if I can get my shadow out of the camera so we can see these little corn babies. These are all Painted Hills corn. And then if we come around this way, the yarrow is still flowering. Oh, there's another one of those little beetles. They don't really seem to be doing any damage. They're just kind of hanging out. So when I see bugs just hanging out, I just leave them alone. It's probably eating something like aphids or something that's actually trying to eat the plants. There's the comfrey, which looks like it might soon flower. That is fennel. And then you can see more corn. This is some sort of red corn that I planted just to see if we could get some red corn husks instead of trying to dye all of the corn husks that I use for the dolls. I wanted to see what kind of natural, well, the dyes are natural, they're plant dyes, but I wanted to see what kind of colorful husks we can get. That's probably the biggest passion vine out here that's doing the most. It's actually latched on, and it's got some flower buds if we come closer. It's actually latched on to the vertical garden now, so that's a great sign. And then this is a little flower bud. And I'm excited for the passion vine this year because last year I actually started making the one herb at a time workshop class for passion vine, but then I just kind of petered out. I don't know, I got really tired of it. Like I did the first half of the video maybe, but then I didn't do the rest of it. So I'm looking forward to finishing that one herb at a time offering and getting it up on the website so that we can continue that class. And if you're not familiar with one herb at a time, it's a workshop that's usually the classes are about 1 to 2 hours long, and we just go one herb at a time, literally. And each class focuses on one herb because that's the way that I've learned herbal medicine. That's the easiest way that I've learned, is just to go one plant at a time and really devote myself to that one herb for at least 2 weeks or a month of constantly working with and studying that plant. So we'll definitely do the passion vine one. This is Passiflora incarnata with the purple flowers, and it's been said to have the most medicinal constituents of all the passion vines. That could be debatable, but because there's over 500 species of Passiflora, but the Passiflora incarnata is the one that I use the most for medicine making. And down here we have more squashes, and we'll know exactly what kind of squashes or melons those are as time goes on. Like here, this I believe is a cucumber flower, and I really love the way that these flower heads look before they open. They kind of look like cucumbers, And they're just so soft and kind of velvety, and I like that. Even the leaves are like that, which makes me believe that this is a cucumber and not, you know, definitely not a zucchini, because the zucchini flowers are more yellow and they're a different shape. So pretty sure these are cucumbers, and this is the same thing. A friend's mother gave me a bunch of cucumbers, baby cucumber seedlings. Oh, look, I hadn't seen this was back yet. This is the Passiflora Carillia, I think it's called. Let me see if I can I'll get a different angle so I can get in there with my finger and show you what plant I'm talking about. This vine right here is the blue passion vine, and I hadn't seen it come back. I was concerned that it maybe had died with all the freeze and stuff that we got in the late winter. And then here is Passiflora incarnata growing right beside it. So these are two different species of Passiflora, and it's interesting to look at. The leaves are similar but different. The Passiflora incarnata, the leaves are much more sharp in the tips. There's a big lizard running behind me. And so it's interesting that this is the same genus but a different species. So they're kind of like sisters, right? Here's a marigold getting tall. Oh, something came in here, ate off of one of my marigolds. That's okay. Oh, there's a little strawberry. It's got some dirt on it, but that's okay. I'm gonna eat it anyway. Strawberry flowers. And this bed looks pretty empty. That's a cayenne pepper, but there's a lot of seed action happening under the surface. I came and pulled out all of that ground cherry that was down in there. That was kind of like volunteer ground cherry that we didn't want to keep. And so after I pulled out the ground cherry, I went in and put in a bunch of seeds. So we'll just wait and see. I might also come into this bed and plant some more sunflowers. That strawberry is really good. Oh, look here. There's a lot of surprises. I'm like, as I walk around, I'm surprised by all the things too. Now this, see, look at that. I don't know what, maybe that's a zucchini. It could be a zucchini. It's really rough. You hear that? Scratchy. So I think that that's a zucchini. It's not soft like the cucumbers. That one's more soft. But we'll see, you know, I like surprises in the garden, as y'all know. So we'll see what surprises pop up. This is another cucumber. It's gotta be, because it's soft, and then it has this little same kind of flower. And this one hasn't latched on to the vertical garden just yet, but give it another week or so and it will. You can see some of the tendrils are kind of confused about where to go right now, but as it gets taller and bigger, it will. These are all scarlet runner beans, and so they'll start to climb the trellis as well. And whenever things start to really germinate and grow out here, I start feeling like, oh, okay, I can go and put more seed at the base of the trellis. Like this is a new little seed. It's probably like an acorn squash or something like that. I planted a bunch of those and some summer squashes. And you see here, that's probably a squash. That's a squash. This one I planted way over here because I figure it'll spread out and climb when it can. So that's one of my goals for this summer, is to get more things climbing on these vertical trellises because they have a lot of room. And I thought I planted a lot of stuff on the trellises last year, but they never completely filled them up. So this year I'm just really going hard with as many things as I can possibly fit onto the trellis. There's the dill. The oregano is really still getting established, but it's doing well. The thyme is looking kind of scrubby over here. It's really short, but I have faith that it'll take off. I feel like this is the bed that maybe I'm the least excited about, or I guess this poppy bed I'm not too excited about anymore either, but it's okay because the garden is always in transition, and that's just one of the beautiful things about gardening, is like the garden's always changing, and just when you're not excited about a bed and you come in and put more seeds, and then, you know, things start to happen. So I did put down a bunch of new seeds in this poppy bed. You can see a lot of the poppies are spent, and we've actually collected a lot of the poppy heads and saving them for scattering in other places. Here's another little seedling. Here's a Passiflora incarnata that's soon gonna reach out and grab this trellis. Give it another week or so. More little seedlings popping up. So you can see this bed is gonna be really exciting soon. It's just in transition because the poppies are going to seed and new things are sprouting up. Here's a tomato that I just went ahead and put directly into the ground over here, and it's doing well. It's got 2 little fruits on it that look really healthy and beautiful. I'm excited for fried green tomatoes. I think it's a southern thing, but I really love fried green tomatoes, and soon we'll have a lot of green tomatoes because we have more in the backyard gardens. All right, here's a cayenne. And my 16-year-old was telling me that the leaves on this are curling because it's not getting enough sun. And I don't know, we'll see, because it is kind of shaded by these sunflowers. So we'll see what happens. I have cayennes planted in a couple different places. Like this one here definitely seems like it's probably stunted by all of the sunflowers kind of towering over it. But that's okay. That's, you know, when you're gardening, you learn different lessons about what was a good idea and what wasn't. So maybe that just wasn't a good idea to plant the peppers right over by the sunflowers. These sunflowers are looking pretty healthy. They're starting to form their faces. I don't know if y'all call flowers faces, but whenever I see the flowers getting ready to open, they just kind of look like the faces are about to show. Like the leaves and the stalks are the bodies, and then the flowers are the faces. It's kind of how I think in my mind. This is some mint that we transplanted from a friend, and it's really beautiful and healthy. I thought that it wasn't going to survive, but it died back a little bit, or it didn't die back, it wilted, and then now it's come back and it smells so good. I wish y'all could smell that. It's peppermint. And I guess I've never really grown peppermint before, so I'm grateful. This cucumber, I don't know if I showed you how it's climbing already. Climbing up the trellis. All right, so that's what's going on here in the front gardens. And since we still have a few minutes before we hit like a 20-minute video, I'm going to pause and we'll walk over to near the pig pen, and we'll look at that triple watering system, and I'll show you guys. It looks really beautiful right now, so let's go over there. All right, here's a quick interjection. If y'all have ever been around goats, when goats sleep, they sometimes look like they're dead, and this baby is sleeping in that way. It always freaks me out when I see them laying down like that, and I feel like I need to go and check on them. But watch. Alive. Just sleepy. Stretch it out. Aw, how cute. You're adorable. All right, go back to sleep. All right, dang, I'm glad that I came over here because I had emptied the pond this morning and somebody decided to refill it and they left the hose on. So it's way full, but I caught it right in the nick of time. Or actually, no, it looks like it did leak a little bit, but I caught it before it became some kind of disastrous flood over here. But the water looks really beautiful for the ducks. I can't believe they're not in their pond right now. There's Cora and Gannon. So here's our triple watering system. And if you remember, I can't remember where I posted that video. I may have posted it on YouTube, but here is the duck pond. And then the duck pond drains over here. So that's what I mean that I came and drained it this morning, because I wanted to give the pigs a fresh little watering hole. And the good thing about that water kind of being left on for too long is that it really did clean up this area. It was really muddy. Even the duck pond was really muddy. So now it's cleaner, and the pigs sometimes will come and drink this water, so it's nice for it to be cleaner. And they don't, Cora and Gannon, they're cooney pigs, and they come and get in this water occasionally, but I think as the Texas summer really starts to be upon them, then they will use this watering hole a lot more. So the duck pond drains over to the pig hole, which then overflows into this garden space. So we have this, it's kind of a river that runs through and around the garden space. And this has been just very low maintenance, because we've come over here maybe twice or 3 times and put seeds in the ground. And some of the seeds I've just straight up scattered in here as well. So we have golden and sweet corn growing through there. We also, oh look, how cute. The duck pond, when it's really clean like that, it becomes a watering hole for all of the animals. So I guess it has many more uses, you know, because the goats can come and drink, the ducks can come swim, and then it also just overflows. And the ducks haven't had a lot of pond action recently, because we've had so many babies that were just so small that we were concerned about them getting into the duck pond and drowning. But now all the goats have really got their legs on, and they're not really in danger of just like spontaneously falling into that pond. Let's see, they might prove me wrong right now. I love to watch goats drink, because they drink with their lips. Instead of their tongue. You know, like how a dog laps up water? Goats use their lips to drink, which is really sweet. You babies. You gotta watch those babies. All right, so let's go back over here and talk about the garden space a little bit more. I was distracted by the watering hole. So we've got some sweet corn, and interspersed in here is more of that Painted Hills corn. There's some sorghum that we'll harvest and give to the goats. There's like radish sprouts. There's some alfalfa, tons and tons of sunflowers in there that are gonna get really tall soon. What else? There's some borage in there. There's a couple peppers. A lot of spearmint right along the river's edge. I planted a lot of spearmint because I know that will really go in there and take over time. There's some prairie verbena that's just growing up wild around the edge. And we have lots of deer out here, and they kind of move through this area. That's one of their trails that they go through, especially in the evening or early in the morning. That is my foot you're stepping on, Argent. And they haven't come over here and messed with any of this. So it seems kind of like a safe zone, knock on wood, where we can grow stuff and not have the squirrels get in here or have the deer. Even the pigs, they got in here once and they didn't really do much damage. So this is a really good area for us to grow food for ourselves, but also for us to grow some crops to give to the goats and the pigs and the chickens. So I'm really happy with how all of this is turning out. All right, so that's it for our garden video today, and a little update on the triple watering system. Yeah, I guess we could do this every month, but I'll just come out and do a garden update whenever things change, which is quite often. So maybe next time we'll have some vegetables and fruits that are popping. If you like this video, of course, subscribe, share, comment, all the things that you do on YouTube. And if there's anything else that you'd like to see, I'm considering making an animal husbandry series where we go through and look at all the different animals and like how to get started. If you want to get goats, what are the things that you absolutely need to have before bringing them home? And then what are those maintenance things that you do for goats? And then we can go through with the chickens and the ducks and the pigs and the rabbits. I think that's all of our animals. Yeah, so if you are interested in those animal husbandry videos, then leave me a comment and let me know, because I want to know who's interested in that. And otherwise, we'll keep doing these garden videos, and we'll see what other neat things we can come up with, one herb at a time. But thank you for being here with me. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're awesome. And you must really love plants like I do, because I can talk about them all day. So I will check you later. Namaste.